Many congressional staffers were almost killed. Many children of members of Congress were there. Children. Some of them were adult children.
Adult children.
Adult children.
Uh-oh.
You have folks like Congressman Jamie Raskin, who tragically, Congressman Raskin, Jamie, is a very close, very, very deep and close friend of mine. And he tragically, and his family tragically lost their son a couple, just days ago, days before this attack. And his daughters were with him in the Capitol days after that trauma. And they nearly lost their lives too.
What about the police officer that did lose his life? Oh, wait. ACAB, right? All cops are bastards?
Yeah, she gets into a weird thing about the police shortly. That's like,
Oh, okay.
what the fuck is she talking about?
As for myself, I had a pretty traumatizing event happen to me. And I do not know if I can even disclose the full details of that event due to security concerns. But I can tell you that I had a very close encounter where I thought I was going to die. And
So
why are you laughing at that, Sitch?
because okay, here's my question.
This
Here's my
doesn't look
question when I was
good.
watching this whole
The
video.
Twitter squirrel is going to be clipping this.
I know.
Look, she's going to die, and you're laughing, Sitch.
I'm laughing. You think it's funny? Yes, and I'm sick of pretending it's not, Adam.
You bastard.
But no, what I'm wondering when I was watching this whole video is AOC actually such a fragile person? And look, it's definitely scary to be in a situation like that. I don't deny that. But to my knowledge, she wasn't in any face-to-face interaction with any of these protesters whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so is she so fragile that this incident like has actually created PTSD in her, that she's like so shook up and so broken that this is real? Or is this all bullshit and she's just playing herself off as the victim in order to get pity points and in order to, you know, never let a crisis go to waste and to levy this power against her political opponents?
She could easily believe all of this stuff because the narrative that they've been sold and buy into is that the cops are against them. And you could be sitting in the Capitol building thinking, well, if the cops join the mob, we're doomed. We're totally doomed. And I imagine some of them were actually thinking that. So, I mean, you're in a situation where you don't necessarily really know what's going on outside. Right?
I guess that's true. I didn't think about that, because if she thinks, and she gets into this, if she, even if she didn't, even if she wasn't in the room and had no face-to-face interaction with any protesters, if she's so crazy that she buys into all the leftist woke nonsense and thinks that the cops are out to get her, she could be sitting in the security room with the cops thinking like, they're all going to turn on me in a second.
Totally.
They're going to drag me out to the crowd and they're going to lynch me because I'm fucking communist, you know?
Well, yeah,
Maybe.
totally.
And that's the danger of being a crazy fucking ideologue, I guess.
Well, this is what I was saying last time. This is the way the coup attempts go. The police and security forces and military, they never do the dirty work. They just step aside and let the mob do the dirty work. They take the day off is what they do. Then their hands aren't bloody. They're not responsible.
Right, but I'm just saying
the actual coup. They're there to pick up the pieces.
How detached from reality is your worldview if you think that that was something that could happen in this country at that time, especially at that time period?
This is the narrative that they're pumping out on CNN
I
right
know.
now.
I guess so. That's what I'm questioning.
Like a bunch of police stepped down, and now the military sent out a letter saying this transition is going through. Hold your posts. Like, we're not doing anything weird here. I mean, it's a terrible situation that they're actually doing that.
So our options are: she is unhinged and believes her own bullshit, or she's a bullshitter And you think that she's just unhinged?
I think she's
Or more
unhinged.
likely.
I think she's
Okay.
definitely unhinged. Yeah.
Okay.
I think she believes and is unhinged. It's good politics for her. I think it's completely working. This narrative is working out great. It's not true, but it's definitely delivering political victories to them. One of the things we've talked about this before about political institutions, political decay. One of the landmarks that we set out was a president not being able to approve Supreme Court justices unless they control the Senate.
Right.
We're not in that situation, so that landmark we're not necessarily going to be able to see. But there's another landmark that's cropped up here that I'm super curious about, because I mean, it's all over the Dictator's Handbook. They talk about, political leaders respond to incentives. If they incarcerate Trump, which it looks like, they're going to try to do, that's going to make any leader taking the office uncomfortable. It's probably going to make people less more savory people will be less likely to take the office, and we'll be further down the road towards tyranny. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I mean, I agree that's a dangerous precedent. I disagree that I don't think it will dissuade anyone from running for president, because I think most of these people think, hey, it's not going to happen to me. Trump was such a unique character. So like things that happen to him will not necessarily, be the slippery slope that happens to everyone else. I think the actual danger is more just the passing of legislation that is really overblown in response to this event. But
there's a thing though in politics about, show me the person and I'll show you the crime. Like, you don't necessarily need a crime to convict these people. And I think the higher people up, the more elite they are, the more they realize that. The more they realize that it's just a question of whether or not they turn on you, not necessarily that you've done anything wrong.
Well, I don't even say they do go after Trump. There are a bunch of state prosecutors like in New York and other places that are itching to go after Trump for various things when he's not president. I'm skeptical that any of these are gonna to turn into anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's gonna be a lot of sound and fury, and at the end of the day, it will signify nothing.
It was like that with Hillary, so.
Yes, but we'll see.
You have all of those thoughts where, at the end of your life, and all of these thoughts come rushing to you. And
we here at Sitch and Adam do not any laughter at
this whole hour.
Why are you
video,
laughing? These are 100 clips for the Twitter scroll. What the fuck are you doing?
This is all just a ringing endorsement for anti-fragile training.
Yeah.
Because look, I don't want to make light of, there are definitely people who, you're in a situation and you have fucking PTSD and you have crazy anxiety and you have these thoughts and all this stuff. I don't know. It seems to me that this is so overblown from her perspective.
Really?
I wasn't there. Maybe she was just a hair breadths away from being, murdered by someone, but she can't talk about it for security reasons, right?
Right.
The most crazy, harrowing escape of AOC, the story that could be made into a movie. She's running down the hall, she's pulling her heels off so she can run faster, as the crazy guy with a Confederate flag who's throwing at her like a fucking javelin, and it sticks in the wall right as she goes into the door. I don't know, maybe that fucking all happened. I'm just a little skeptical. I'm just a little bit skeptical that anything like that happened.
She's definitely incentivized to pump it up here.
Yes.
That's what happened to a lot of us on Wednesday. And I thought I did not know if I was going to make it to the end of that day alive. And not just in a general sense, but also in a very, very specific sense. And I think it's an opportunity for...
Boy, she is... Oh, man. The hook there. Not in a general sense, but in a very, very specific sense. And I'm not going to tell you, by the way.
Yes. It was the classic. It's like, you know, on Twitter when someone says, hey, there's this other YouTube creator who sucks ass, and here's like
Oh, totally.
here's like a DM of them, but I'm gonna block their name, and you're not gonna see who it is, and you're like, oh my god, fuck this person. Like, just say who it is. Like, this is the same.
Totally. Come on, tell us. We want to know.
Or my other favorite is when Thought Slime did this. He was like, Destiny's a fucking monster. You're like, oh my god, what did Destiny say? What happened? What are you talking about? And then they just never elaborate. Like, yeah, they never elaborate. You're like, okay, like what? That's the coward's tweet. That's the pussy's tweet.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent.
A lot of us to talk about trauma as well. One thing that I can say is that in the aftermath of this, there have been a lot of counselors and there have been physicians.
Look at those hands. They're like gigantic. It's got like those crazy giant hands there. Well, don't you think?
How tall is she?
I don't know.
She's
really in the house talking about the importance of.
No, she's short.
You know, some of the rapid response that happens, and that what we can do in our minds and our brains after you are exposed to a traumatic event. And I think what's really important is that, you know, because whenever any person has an encounter where they think they're going to die and they go through that process, that is a traumatizing event. And you don't have to, things don't have to get that far for something to be traumatizing. I once really excellently heard trauma. And I'm so sorry to whoever is the author of this thought, because I don't remember who said this, but I once heard trauma described as too much, too fast.
Okay, well, hold on. I have to address the super chat. Okay.
I was on
Automata for $20
here.
says, you should have heard how sad Rakita Law sounded when he read a super chat letting him know Sitch called him a copium peddler. And after all the heat he takes from his analysis that Trump didn't have a high chance of victory. Sad face.
Yeah, no.
I will say,
you've got Nick completely wrong. What are you talking? Yeah, I've been trying to tell you that forever.
I listened to some Rakita Law videos last week, and I realized that I was confusing him with somebody else.
Oh yeah, okay. Who are you confusing him with? Let's throw that guy under the bus.
The poll, the poll guy, I don't know his fucking name. There's some guy that like goes through all the numbers to explain why Trump really won the election.
Oh, Brainerd?
It's like something polling.
Yeah.
Polling.
He's a different guy, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know who you're talking about. But that's
for some reason, I had in my mind confused him with Rakita Law.
I wish we had the clip of him reading the super chat.
I wish I had the clip of that. So I do apologize. If you want to, whoever sent that super chat can send another one to Rakita Law and say, Sitch is sorry.
Yeah.
He apologizes. He thought you were someone else. It was really just a case of a
mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity.
There you go.
There you go. So I do apologize to Rakita Law. Aiden Paladin, hey, what's going on? For $5 says, is AOC lying or being a solipsistic? That's a big word. I'm too stupid to know that word.
Solipsistic.
Is the philosophical idea that only one's mind is sure to exist?
Solipsism.
Mm-hmm. That is the internal deception, or her projecting her own violent thoughts onto the intentions of others. There's probably a lot of projection. That's true. There's probably a lot of projection going on. That's true. Is it the People's Pundit? Is that who I'm talking about? That might be who I'm talking about. But yeah, so if it's People's Pundit, that's the guy, then yes. Again, I'm sorry, Rakita.
You're a Nick fan now. Good. I like that.
Forgive me.
I never told my Nick story last time. I clipped, Nick did this amazing rant where he just basically told this other attorney to like fuck off and die. And it was so good that I clipped it out and put it on my secret channel. And shared it, and Nick is such an epic guy, man. He's totally great. I don't know how anyone could not like him.
True.
Too and so when psychologically a development happens that is way
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
too much, way too jarring for
She's doing this on purpose, isn't she? She's totally doing this on purpose.
I was just so jarred at him.
This is why she's in landscape. Did you not figure that out yet?
So jarred. Because she wants to. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe
She's dancing around like this is crazy.
It gives you like a claustrophobic sense. It makes you feel like really like close to them. Maybe. Oh,
I'm
wait,
talking about how you. I'm talking about how you
looking.
can get her.
Now I know why you
Yeah.
paused it. Now I know why you paused it. You bad person.
She's doing. I don't know that she could get her whole top half in if she was in. I'm just saying. I think this is deliberate.
I see what you're saying.
She knows what she's doing.
She didn't want the landscape and just the face. Is what you're saying. That's what Adam's saying.
Wasn't AOC a bartender? Like instead of tips, she's going for votes now. It's just she's moved up the ladder.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
for an individual. If it happens, or if something happens that happens way too fast, or if it happens way too soon, that could be a traumatizing event for a person. And I think what's really important is that, you know, there are degrees of it, but for a lot of people, whether you are a service member who served in our armed forces abroad, whether you are a person that maybe experienced domestic violence, any traumatizing event at all could, you know, Wednesday's events could have been very triggering for you too. And you don't have to have been there. You could have just seen it on TV. You could have just heard about it. But if you at all feel...
Wait, did she just say, I was kind of zoned out. Did she just say that, like, even if you weren't there and you just saw on TV, you could still get PTSD?
Yeah,
from this?
she did. She's giving you permission to have PTSD.
Like, I think if you watch something on TV and it gives you PTSD, which is possible, I think that's more of a concern for your own health, that something is going on with your health that you need to work out, because you shouldn't be in such a state that simply watching something on TV like breaks you.
The news is
level.
designed to give you PTSD. What are you talking about, Sitch?
It's designed to make you anxious. It's not designed
Have
to
you
give you
watched
PTSD.
CNN or MSNBC after any of this stuff? Because what they're talking about is how, you know, we live in a white supremacist nation and we just almost had a coup and the whole government almost fell apart. Like that's what they're selling on MSNBC and CNN. Like the whole left-wing media system is designed to give you PTSD.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
All the media is designed to make you so fearful, so outraged at the world, that when some event happens, you look at it and you just have this extreme overreaction to it.
If you believed that narrative, wouldn't you come
Right.
close to having PTSD? I know I would. Jesus
Sure.
Christ.